I've always loved this view looking west from Bloor Street East. And that is Rosedale Valley Road down below. And that is Bloor Street. And hey there, today is Tuesday, November 11th. It is 11:41 a.m. The temperature is about 3 degrees Celsius, and sadly, my poppy has disappeared. I'm not sure when it came off of my jacket, but I was wearing one. It is Remembrance Day, of course, so I'm a little bit bummed that the poppy has wandered off my coat. As I walk east on Bloor Street, this is Castle Frank Station coming up on the left. And in this one, I'm going to go for a snow-covered walk. Yes, snow-covered on November 11th through one of the richest neighborhoods in all of the city, and that is Rosedale. So I'm going to start in front of Castle Frank Station here and make my way to the west, a little bit northwest actually, over to Rosedale Station. Just seemed like with the snow coverage and it being a weekday afternoon, it'd be a good time for a residential walk. There's still a lot of leaves on the trees, so we can even take in some fall colors on the way. This is Castle Frank Road here, so I'll turn left and head north up into Rosedale. Straight ahead is the Bloor Viaducts, and that'll lead you over onto the Danforth. Not sure why that cement truck was honking. I don't think it liked how slow the pickup truck was going in front of him, making him stop at the red light. Too bad, so sad. And there's this neat little wooded trail here behind the station, dipping down into the valley. I'm gonna have to go that way sometime. It says Discovery Walk that way. I think that'll lead down to Rosedale Valley. And in the past, I've kept going straight up this street here, but let's make a left. Maybe explore a few different parts of Rosedale I haven't yet done on the channel, or at least not anytime soon. Look at that absolutely gorgeous old home. Castle Frank Station, where I just walked by, opened back in 1966 with the rest of Line 2. And as you can see, it serves a very wealthy neighborhood. There's a home for sale. Number 20, I think the street is Mackenzie. If I remember to when I'm editing, maybe I'll look that up and get you the price information on screen. And that one, I don't want to walk up on to their property, but it looks like they have a little heritage plaque. This is often considered to be an old money neighborhood. The lot sizes are rather compact given the size and value of the homes. And you could define the Rosedale neighborhood as being north of Bloor Street, east of Yonge, south of the CP rail tracks, and west of the Don Valley Parkway. And it's notably kind of disconnected from the rest of the city. The street design leads to there being a lot of cul-de-sacs and what you could call curvilinear streets, which discourages through traffic, as it's much more efficient just to take the major roads around it. There are a few bus routes that go through here. There's the 82 Rosedale, the 75 Sherburne, and I think the 94 Wellesley. But typically there's fairly low ridership. It's obviously a very car-dominated neighborhood. That plane is... two planes are flying awfully close. Look at that. It's like one right after the other. Don't normally see that. There's an apartment complex. But most of these older homes date back between the 1860s and 1940s. Some of the other wealthier Toronto neighborhoods would include Forest Hill and the Bridle Path and Lawrence Park. But they don't quite have the charm and old world character that Rosedale does. Those other neighborhoods feature a lot more of what you could call McMansions. This is Dale Avenue. I'll have a sidewalk on this side of the street. I'll just let this van drive by. It's quite beautiful with the falling fall color leaves. And this layer of snow. It snowed a little bit this morning, actually. It was snowing when I looked out the window, but it was short-lived. But 2 days ago, we got a somewhat decent snowfall of about 3 centimeters. Hey, another home for sale. This one is number 62. See if I can fish out the information on that one. It's rather stately looking. Hazelton Real Estate Brokerage. And look how pretty that looks going straight ahead. I'm going to turn right here onto Maple. And I think the street kind of winds and goes northwestern or in the northwestern direction. have a set route in mind. I think that's attached to that house that's for sale. But it's not uncommon to see properties in this area sell for north of $10 million. Although the housing market now is really at the lowest it's been in quite a while. The pre-construction condo market has pretty much all but disappeared in Toronto. And I think the market for these types of homes is a little isolated from the rest of the housing market. I have to wonder what the story was. Because in this day and age, there's no way they'd be able to build a little walk-up apartment building like that in a neighborhood like this. The NIMBYs, especially the well-heeled NIMBYs in an area like this, would be super opposed to that. Oh, it's going to lower our property values and destroy our neighborhood character. And it looks like at some point in the 60s they were able to do it. Depending where you are in Rosedale, you may or may not be all that far from a subway station. So you get a lot of the conveniences of being in a big city close to downtown. But you also get to feel quite isolated. And except for the odd goofy YouTuber walking through, you don't really have to mingle with us low-income folks all that much. So this is Glen Road, and the Glen Road pedestrian bridge, which connects to Sherbourne Station, is just up ahead to the left. Maybe I'll go north here. See if we can catch any more for sale signs. All right, this street is Elm. Let's go left. There's a bus stop for the 75. I think the total population of Rosedale is around 10,000. The median age is around 50, which makes it quite a bit older than the rest of the city. It's been noted the cost of living here is something like 70% more than much of the city, which makes sense. Dunbar, isn't there a Dunbar in Forest Hill? Let's go up this way. Just kind of generally navigating towards Rosedale Station. And there was an estate owner back in the 1820s in this area who had a lot of wild roses growing on his property. That's where the name Rosedale originated from. I think that was part of the old Jarvis estate. And a lot of the neighborhood has actually been designated as a heritage conservation district, meaning if you want to make significant changes to your property, you do have to apply with the city. Kind of is an interesting contrast to the Bridle Path. Very wealthy neighborhood full of very large and kind of soulless homes. Kind of feel like everyone's living in their own isolated bubble up there. But here, you're rubbing shoulders with your neighbors. Narrow streets, sidewalks on both sides, at least for some of them. If money were no object, I'd probably still live in a building. I don't really want to deal with maintenance or landscaping or property upkeep. Yeah, I know you just pay for those things at a certain point in life, but I've grown accustomed to living in a small space, which is the opposite. If I lived in one of these things alone. I think this will loop me up and over Mount Pleasant, Mount Pleasant, a major artery that cuts through Rosedale. Look at the red on that tree. Just trying to fish for a tissue in my pockets. It's that time of year. Some of these homes are absolute monsters. I think the area was founded in the 1820s. And the Jarvis estate was subdivided. This was the first garden suburb in the city. That is an enormous property. There's 3 ravines cutting through Rosedale that have been preserved as city parks. And the ravines definitely help add to the isolation and overall quietness of the neighborhood. It's like a scene out of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. They're putting up the lights. And those don't look like LEDs. They look like the old school lights. Imagine having the budget to pay people to come do that for you. So this is Crescent Road, and if I keep going straight, this will lead me all the way to Rosedale Station. I'll probably take a little detour off of it at some point. Rosedale Bloor Park Community Association. Bloor Park is a rather affluent neighborhood just to the north of here. Careless people. So this is Mount Pleasant. And crossing over. And to the south, part of the Yorkville skyline. There's One Bloor West. And to the north, Yonge and Eglinton, up in my neck of the woods. Way out there in the center of the shot. Mount Pleasant Road. So I think in previous videos I typically make a right here at Rentham Place. I think that's the street coming up, so rather than do that, I'll stay on Crescent Road for a little bit. Still haven't seen any other homes that are for sale. There's the 82 Rosedale bus heading over to Summer Hill, which is also just north of here, as well as to the west of here. Beautiful home with a bus stop in front. There's a number of famous names that have lived in Rosedale over the years. I think I did a whole video just highlighting that. But the only place people seem to care about is going up to Drake's mansion in the bridle path. I think that celebrity house sighting thing is more of a Hollywood thing. For sale, Chestnut Park, 94. I'll have to look that up. It's like a beautiful old apartment building. And right across the street, I can't see the street number. There's one for lease. That's just a fancy way of saying for rent. My boot has started to make a little popping sound again. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. But that's my left boot if the microphone is picking that up. That's Rosedale Road. Well, here's a for rent sign. Fully furnished. Is that 2 properties? Number 68. See if I can look that one up too. I'm giving myself a lot of homework on this one. Okay, this is Clooney Drive. My favorite street in Rosedale is just north of here. Maybe I'll make a little detour and we'll check that out. At least part of it. That's Chestnut Park. Last time I was through there on a live stream, there was a fair bit of construction going on the street. I think there was a house selling for like $14 million one time I walked along there. It's an interesting place to park your truck. So there's Chestnut Park. straight ahead, but I'll make a right and then we'll make a left. And I'll cut through part of it. These beautiful old lampposts. Kind of like what you see on Palmerston Avenue. .49 Chestnut Park. Oh, another duplex. Maybe this is part of the construction I saw earlier. Maybe I picked the wrong part of the street to walk on. Oh well, I can always revisit Rosedale and walk up that part at a future date. I think this is where the Chestnut Park Realty Company derives its name from. We might be in for a nice view on the street here. Look at that. I'm not normally one to stop and admire how pretty things are, but it's hard not to do that here. I think the word gorgeous doesn't really do this justice. It would be so much nicer if there are no vehicles parked on the street. One thing I've commented on before is, as nice as these neighborhoods are, if you come through here spring through fall on any nice day, you're often met with a chorus of lawnmowers, weed whackers, just landscaping equipment. There's always homes being renovated. There's rarely a peaceful stroll through these neighborhoods. They're running into all kinds of racket at some point. Forest Hill is similar. And a block south of here is Rosedale Station, so that is where I'm heading towards. One last look at Chestnut Park. It sounds like I just missed a subway train. Road closed. Summerhill Station just to the north. And there's my destination, Rosedale Station just to the south. And it's Young Street. There's some gorgeous residential streets on that side of Young Street and Summerhill. I did a walk a few weeks ago passing through some of those. Rosedale Station coming up opened in 1954 as part of the original Line 1 opening of the subway system. And much like Castle Frank, it's recently been made accessible. They've added elevators to it to get up and down from the platforms. The station's even less used than Castle Frank. Just south of here, you have one of the busiest stations. Well, actually, the busiest station in the country, Bloor Station. I kind of love the indoor-outdoor design of the station. Here's the new elevator area. And that is about all she wrote for this one. Hope you enjoyed this walk through Rosedale, ending up at Rosedale Station. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I've got an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there is a super thanks button appearing down below if you wish to say thanks that way.
506 Eglinton. 506 Eglinton. Please call control.
We get on the train here, so thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will catch you on the next one. Yoink.
Line 1, North Finch.
Please stand clear of the doors. Next station is Summerhill Station.